Hi, everybody. Welcome to this webinar where I'm Coach Mesa. I'm going to be with you for the next 30 minutes to talk to you about everything confident and calm parenting. I want you to take a moment and think about a confident and calm parent that you may know or you may have heard of. What comes to mind? Maybe words like patient, composed, regulated. Make sense. But did you know that nobody is born with those qualities already in them? They're qualities that have been taught or practiced, and they usually are taught and practiced when a child is little by witnessing the adult be calm and confident. However, a lot of us didn't grow up in a household that taught us self-regulation. And so here we are now as adults, having children of our own, and now we are finding ourselves finding it very hard to stay regulated when my child is having a tantrum, finding it really hard to put up with the nagging, finding it really hard to listen to siblings bickering. And this stems from the idea that, oh, I'm just not made for that. Or a lot of parents will say, yeah, I don't have that in me. But I'm here to remind you that confidence and calmness is something that can be taught. So let's jump into a really quick presentation. Keep watching to the end because I've got a really special announcement to make. So hi, welcome. This is me. I am Mesa. I work as a coach. Nearly forgot who I was for a moment because I'm just thinking to myself, look at all of these amazing people that have taught me everything that I know today and more. But of course, my biggest teachers have been my children. I'm a mum to 4 children. I've got a bachelor's of education. I was a primary school teacher for many years, and then I pivoted down the path of coaching parents. I'm a cognitive behavioral therapist as well as a behavioral therapist. So that's just code for I know the reasons behind people's behaviors. And so I'm trauma informed by Dr. Gabor himself. So I've got a certification in that. And with all of this knowledge, I show up as a coach every day. But I kept finding something was missing. More on that soon. So just a reminder that our children are not extensions of us. They might look like us, but they're not us, and they're their own unique beings. So conscious parenting isn't about trying to be this perfect parent. It's about self-awareness. It's about realizing, oh, I don't really know how to handle this, or, oh, that's a trigger for me when my child does that. And so I've created this webinar for 2 reasons. The first is to share something really special with you that's coming up. And the second is because, let's face it, Instagram just does not give me enough time to get in depth into some topics. So get ready because this is going to be deep. So I'm going to share some insights, some strategies with you today. It's a journey. You're not going to walk away from this webinar having worked everything out. However, you need to understand that real confidence comes from knowing both the tools and the deeper inner work. You can't just read a book and think that's it, you're done. You have to go put those things into action. And you can't just learn scripts and think that's it, you're done. You need to learn the behind the reasons for it. And so let's quickly define what makes a confident parent. So a confident parent is built on these 3 things. First thing is knowledge. They have to know the stuff. You have to know what you need to do in parenting. The second is you need to have the right tools. And lastly, you need to practice. And so if we look at it like we're training for a marathon, a runner needs to know the route that they're running, if there's any hills, what's going on, and then they need to have the right tools. So they might, run in the rain or in the sunshine on a treadmill. And of course, they've got a coach with them that's telling them about the right tools. And lastly, they go out there and they practice. They put things into action. And so when we come to the most common questions I get when it comes to parenting, it's these 3, okay? I mean, I know that devices are a big topic at the moment, but they kind of stem into always these 3 questions of how do I get my child to listen to me? How can I handle my child's tantrum? And how do I stay calm during my child's tantrum? And so these 3 questions, I'm going to break them down for you into a strategy in a really simple format, but you're going to see how I can help you more. Keep watching. So let's go with the first question. How do I get my child to listen to me? So it depends on what it is. And again, with this short webinar, you need to take it for what it is, right? I'm not going to be able to break down every single scenario in the world, but take these as tips for you. And so the first tip is to remember that children are humans as well. So you imagine if you had a boss that gave you orders all day, would you listen? Or would you start tuning out? Because kids are the same. So my first tip for you is, are you giving orders all day? Because if your answer is yes, then your kids are going to tune out, and that's why they're not listening to you. So here are some ideas for you. Get down to their level. So that means don't shout from across the room. Make eye contact. So that means try to get their attention, and you have it, and you also give them your attention. And use fewer words. Don't do any lectures in there, and don't give them long spiels. Just get to the point and ask them or tell them what they need to do. Lastly, this one's a deep one. So science shows that kids need to feel seen and heard to engage their listening ears, right? So if you all day have been commanding and demanding, and now it's time for bed, more often than not, your child's just not going to listen. So you need to drop the monologue. So let's say you've asked your child to pick up their shoes, and they've said no, or they've ignored you. Turn it into a challenge, or be silly about it. Hey, superhero, can you grab those shoes for me? And this is something that little children really, really enjoy. The second question is all about handling a tantrum. So remembering first, I always give the framework first, remembering that a tantrum is a storm, it's a tornado, it's going to pass. A tantrum isn't forever. And a tantrum is literally when the brain has gone into meltdown mode, so that thinking part of the brain is offline. So if your child is having a tantrum because they wanted that red truck at the shopping centre and you've said no because they have so many trucks at home, that's a logical answer. They're not going to accept that during their tantrum. So my biggest advice is to just skip the lectures. Don't remind your child that they have so many cars at home and why aren't you grateful? Just stay calm, use simple soothing words. You don't need to be over the top with, oh darling, I understand. How about we do such and such? Because a lot of kids, especially strong-willed children, won't even like that tone and they might tell you to stop talking. Instead, soothing words means learning your child's love language. So you might want to just get straight to the point. Hey buddy, I can see you really want that car. Not happening today. How about? And now we give them some redirection. So really giving them redirection after validating their feelings means that you're helping your child move on. Redirecting does not mean distracting. Okay, we're not distracting them from their feelings, we're helping them put their mind somewhere else. And then of course there's waiting it out, just waiting for that storm to pass, and it does pass. Don't aggravate it though, because the storm will and can continue. And lastly, usually when you ask this question, how do I stay calm during my child's tantrums? A lot of people will say, try deep belly breaths. That'll be their first answer. And you're like, hey, seriously, how can I do this? I'm so mad. But here is what I am going to say. It's really difficult to meditate during a tantrum. It's actually almost impossible. Why? Because there's this child that you adore in front of you having a really hard time. Of course it's going to bring up feelings in you. Of course it's going to make you feel really anxious or maybe scared or worried or angry. That is normal. However, what we need to remember is that their tantrum is not about you. Okay, a tantrum is when big emotions take over the body. And when big emotions have taken over the body, we stop using our thinking brain. So we can't articulate ourselves. Have you ever seen an adult in a road rage incident? Or maybe it's a famous tennis player that can't handle losing. It's the same concept. So deep belly breaths really do work, but you need to teach yourself deep belly breaths outside of a chaotic moment. You can't just suddenly go, oh yeah, I'm going to do deep belly breaths now while my child's having a tantrum if you've never practiced them. So don't fight that energy. You want to redirect it in the same way of the previous point, really trying to help that child get through that moment, get through that emotion. So you could give them other options. A lot of parents just think that children just need to move on, but it doesn't work like that from a brain perspective. So based on neuroscience, your calm will teach them their calm. And as a lot of parents know, if you weren't raised in a calm household, you will find it hard to be calm yourself. I really need to stress at this point that calm does not mean happy. Calm does not mean, oh yes, I'm so content right now with my child having a tantrum. Sometimes calm does mean happy, don't get me wrong. Sometimes during a calm moment on a beautiful day while you're sitting there sipping your mocktail at the beach, things are calm. But calm is also another word for regulated. And regulated means I am in control of my emotions. And that means that you're not letting your emotion control you. And so to be a truly confident parent, you need to understand the why behind your reactions. You have to understand what are the behaviors that trigger you. Why do you feel out of control and overwhelmed? You need to recognize your patterns and beliefs and how they're playing out in parenting. I mean, confident parenting starts with understanding the knowledge. Remember from those slides just previously, that's the first step to confidence. And so something has to change. We can't just keep expecting ourselves to just know. We can't keep expecting ourselves to just watch a short YouTube video here or a quick Instagram reel there. And how many of us have screenshotted so many quotes? It still isn't enough to teach us how to be confident and calm parents. Because what it truly means to be a confident and calm parent isn't just those simple strategies, which do work, don't get me wrong, but telling someone to count to 10 and take deep breaths and walk away can't always happen because they're only part of the picture. We need to go deeper. So parents need the knowledge, the skills, and a chance to practice those tools in exactly the same way that marathon runner needs it, in exactly the same way a person needs it when they're learning a new language. And basically, any skill in the world needs these three things. When you're first learning to drive a car, you need to pass the knowledge test. You need to understand what the skills are, and then you need to practice before you get that, driver's license. And so this is why I'm so excited to introduce a 6-week course. Think of it like a program where I'm going to go through everything you need to know. This is what I've called it, the Parenting Rulebook, because I have nailed down 6 rules that every parent needs to know to be a confident and calm parent. Think of it like building a house, right? So strategies are like tools in your toolkit, but understanding your behaviors and your triggers, well, that's the foundation. And without a strong foundation, the house won't stand. And so in my program, I don't just give you the tools, I help you lay that groundwork so you can stand firm. So you can understand when you've held that boundary and your child's pushing back on the boundary, I can teach you how to stand firm in that boundary based on helping your brain rewire itself. I'm going to introduce the 6 rules. I'm so excited. These 6 rules are based on 20 years of experience as a parent, teaching, coaching. I'm a bit nervous to press next. I wanted to say one more thing. Okay. Listen up. You know this slide over here, the Parenting Rulebook? Honestly, can you imagine if this was given to us, like before we had a baby, or perhaps if we were taught these rules during school? Because I'm about to tell you what they are. Check this out. So the first rule that you need to know is that you must meet and understand 3 essential parts in you. That's right, you're not crazy. We all have many parts in us, but there are 3 essential parts that parents need to know about so that they can parent more confidently. The ego, the inner child, and the mature self. If you don't know about these 3 parts, you're not going to find the confidence. Rule 2, you must utilize the nervous system as the primary tool for learning calmness. If you don't know that, if you don't know much about the vagus nerve, if you don't know that your nervous system has a parasympathetic and a sympathetic system, then you will not know about calmness. Rule 3, you must treat your brain as the computer to your beliefs. You must treat your brain like a massive filing cabinet that is looking for evidence every single day. And that is because it's gathered evidence from your experiences. But guess what? Brains can be rewired. So cool. Rule 4, you must establish strong foundations through the theory of attachment styles. So attachment styles, why? Why aren't we taught this? This has got to do with relationships and parents. And it is so important to understand why some of us are avoidant or dismissive or disorganized or fearful, and why some of us are secure. And our goal is to find the secure attachment. I know the word attachment is missing from here, but that's what we're doing in Rule 4. In Rule 5, you must operate as a coach or guide, not a boss. So many parents take on the parenting role and think that they are the boss, they are the ruler. Well, guess what? You could take on that role, but some kids are not going to listen to that. Actually, a lot of kids don't really listen to a parent that is bossing them around. Instead, think of yourself as a coach. Think of yourself as somebody who's guiding their children. Now, a really good coach doesn't tell off a child for making a mistake. They make a note and they teach that child what to do instead. And rule 6 is using my framework. I call it the meltdown framework. You won't find it anywhere on the internet. It's my trademarked framework where I teach you how to solve every parenting struggle. I know not many people can say that, but this covers every parenting struggle. There's 3 columns in this framework, and I teach you step by step how to work through that parenting struggle. And I'm not going to tell you to take deep breaths, I promise. This is the parenting manual that you never had, okay? I'm going to put some, bunch of words on this screen, but I'm just going to read off from my heart, because when I wrote this program, I wrote it from the basis of what did I want to know when I first entered parenting? And then, 10 years ago, when I started on this conscious parenting adventure, this journey, what have I learned since then in the thousands of books that I've read, the hundreds of, gurus and psychologists and experts that I've learned from? And this is what I imagine needs to be taught to parents, because when you understand these rules, you can transform your parenting, and it's never too late. This program is also really built for all ages. So here are the details for those that want them really quickly. It's a 6-week course. We meet once a week on a Tuesday for 6 weeks. There's 2 slots available. You do not have to come to both. You don't come to both, actually. It's just you choose one timing that works for you. These timings are based on Dubai timings, and they're delivered via Zoom. You'll get access to these for a lifetime. Now listen, this is the only time I'm going to be running this live. So you will get that really extra bonus of having me live, and therefore being able to answer any of your questions live. You get 24/7 support, so ongoing support via email. And then you get a really exciting part to this is this workbook that I've created. It literally reads like a manual. You've got rules, worksheets, homework, information. I've done diagrams. I'm so excited. And then lastly, but not least, is the community support. I'll put you in touch on a group, if you want, on this platform where you can meet parents with like-minded, situations that they're in. I know I scrolled too quickly before, but here it is for a longer time. You can take a picture of this and make sure that you make the most of the early bird offer. So I want you to apply the code CONFIDENT30. I don't know if the captions have really removed that from there, but it's CONFIDENT30, all one word, 30 as the number. You can use these 2 QR codes for which session you want to join. And I want you to join the Parenting Rulebook today. Be part of this program that's going to revolutionize your parenting, where you're going to understand how to find that calmness. I'm so grateful that you, let me start that again. I'm so grateful that you took the time to be with me today. You could have been doing anything for the last 20 plus minutes, but you chose to be here for a reason. Now, I always say to parents that if you are not looking after your brain and your regulation and yourself, then what are your children going to learn? So make sure you make sure that you invest in yourself, and this is a perfect way to do it for parenting. Take care, and I'll see you soon.